Phi is the taxonomy of human elements in endeavour. Let's start with the last word, endeavour. Essentially, endeavour just simply refers to anything and everything we do as part of living. It is the effort, our volition. Now, that volition, that endeavour, is what creates our lives, it's what creates our communities, our societies, our organisations. We create it using certain elements. I'm sure you're aware of many of these elements. Elements like decision, or elements like communication, or elements like meetings, or elements like plans. These various elements, and I estimate there are probably around 5,000 to 10,000 of them, can be organised. The organisation of these elements is a taxonomy. A taxonomy is simply a form of classification. The elements are identified by the function that they have, and to be sure that we've really got a fix on the element, we try and look at elements that have similar functions but are not identical functions. The function is different, that's what makes it a different element. But we look at the properties and we find slightly different functions can have quite major differences in properties. We also look at the relationships between the different elements. What is the relationship between an intention and a decision? What is the relationship between willingness and communication? What's the relationship between a community need and a priority inside your organization? These relationships need to be handled correctly if the elements are to be handled correctly. All these elements are eventually unified in the taxonomy in one single cell which I call the will. It's hard to know what to call it. You might want to call it the mind or the self, or I call it the will. And it has very little properties in itself, except it's the source of all energy, and that it can operate in a constructive or positive way or in a destructive or negative way. From these forces of being constructive and being destructive, we can start to grasp how psychosocial reality is created and managed. The problems that we find are usually based on either ignorance, blindness, or they're based on allowing, perhaps unawares, destructive forces to dominate. When that occurs, of course, the result can't be good. By being aware of the potential, we can activate and strengthen our own constructive capabilities and determination.